And the question is, what's going to happen with him? So again, Swagoo and Rob Ninkovich. But Jeff Darlington, I'm starting with you. We are now 8 days away from round one of the NFL draft. What is the latest on Baker Mayfield?
Well, Greeny, I do not expect for the Browns to deal Baker Mayfield before the draft. And I say that because there's this clear line of delineation between when Baker Mayfield's deal will get done, but based on the fact that the Browns need to come down in both their asking price and how much of the $18 million salary in 2022 that they will pick up. And until these teams have their quarterback rooms solidified through the draft, meaning the Carolina Panthers at 6, some of these teams, Seattle needs to figure out exactly what they're going to do. Then they can make the decision on Baker, make their best offer, and this gets done. I would guess, honestly, that it gets done in the next 2 weeks. I just think that it takes after the draft for that to actually happen.
So just to make sure I'm clear on this, we're talking immediately after the draft, whichever team it is that does not figure out its quarterback situation over the course of those 3 days, then winds up saying we're going to go get Baker. So, Marcus, I'm thinking back to a day on a beach in Miami. We were together, and Baker Mayfield came and sat with us on this show. And we were talking about his future. We were talking about his attitude. We were talking about all that kind of stuff. Here we are 2 years later, and the entire National Football League, including his own team, is basically saying to him, we don't want you. They can't give him away. Marcus, what does this mean?
Yeah, listen, G, you know, it's funny you mentioned when we were in Miami. You think about the one thing we talked about with Baker Mayfield was his ego. That was the big part. We thought that was a major hindrance. And I told you, G, like when he came into the league, everybody talked about the chip on his shoulder. I was like, dudes in the NFL don't care about that. GMs don't care about that. Head coach, it is about production. Baker Mayfield has had one really good year, and obviously his rookie year he came in and set that record. But the inconsistency is what the league is telling Baker Mayfield. You're inconsistent. You played last year injured. We honestly don't know who you are. We've seen flashes. And I talked to Bill Parcells yesterday because Parcells called me. He was like, you're looking good, big fella. You're losing some weight. But I asked him, I said, BP, give me your take on Baker Mayfield. And he said, inconsistent. There is some talent there. He plays at a high level at times. And those high leverage moments is when Baker really hurts himself. And if you go back and look at his career, if you go back and look at crunch time situations, outside of the game where I gave him credit for against the Baltimore Ravens when Lamar had to go take a dump, but he was able to come back. Baker was playing well in that game and did well enough to win games. Cleveland had a plethora of problems, but he was one of them. And that is the issue the rest of the league is dealing with. And I'm with Darlington. Someone will sign Baker Mayfield. I do believe, as hard as I am on Baker Mayfield, I do believe he's one of the better 32 quarterbacks in the NFL. Somebody will come and get him. But the league is telling Baker Mayfield, we don't look at you like we looked at you the day you were taken first overall in the draft.
Well, that's exactly right. And that, to me, is really the most interesting part of this, Ninko. He is obviously a better player than the way he's being treated. People are talking. The way the league is reacting to Baker Mayfield now, it's as though he cannot play at all. We recognize he can play at least a little. I don't understand this.
It's the numbers. So you have to look at the numbers. And Hembo gave me a few numbers that I think you need to listen to. In the last 2 seasons, he is ranked 26th in drop back passing, and he has a QBR of 42.4. Now, if you are owed $19 million and you have stats that look like that and how you perform in the biggest parts of the game where you have to drop back and throw the football, you don't want to get a quarterback and sign a quarterback to your roster that can only hand the football off and run play action pass. You want a guy that can drop back, hit his back foot at 8 to 10 yards and throw a football strike down the field on 3rd and 10. That was his biggest problem. And then you add up, the kind of the attitude and kind of the tantrums that we've seen and the injury history because he has been injured and he's had a shoulder. So the $19 million is the biggest problem. That is the biggest deal. If he had a $4 million contract right now, he'd be gone.
But a starting quarterback, see, we keep coming back to this money.
That's
$19 million for a starting quarterback is nothing in the NFL. They're not treating him like he's a starting quarterback. You know what I think it's about, Marcus? And I'm going to use a term that you will appreciate. Real G's move in silence. He talks too much. There's too much of this complaining. A chip on your shoulder should be best handled in private where no one can see it and you don't talk about it so much. And if he wasn't doing that, he would be on Carolina or somebody else right now, Marcus. What do you think?
G, to your point, like, absolutely. And you know how I am with that. You and I have said 1,000 times, and I've told you Baker Mayfield just need to go play football and do his thing and stop worrying about what people are saying outside of that. Another indictment, because Neek brought up a great point about the money. I think another indictment on Baker Mayfield, and a lot of people across this league look at, Jarvis Landry was known as one of the premier wide receivers before he went to Cleveland. They told us OBJ couldn't play anymore when he was in Cleveland. This man was damn near about to be the MVP of the Super Bowl. So you looking at from a football perspective, you got to ask yourself, did Baker Mayfield make those guys worse? Was he able to build a rapport with two guys that was highly thought of talents in the NFL that went to Cleveland and kind of faded out and phased away? So there's a lot of things working against Baker. I think the one thing that works with him is he's had some success in this league and been to the playoffs. So I think a team will pick him up. But there's a lot of stuff you got to sift through before you decide to bring Baker Mayfield on. To your point, G, because you don't know what type of attitude and mentality he's going to have when things go awry, which they always do in the NFL.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.